Chris's apartment for the last time. And yes, it's snowing.
Layout. Yeah. Everybody knew what she likes.
Here we are,
If you ever
getting in the elevator
elevator in the world, this is it.
Okay. That's actually on my bucket list. So.
for the celebration.
Actually here already. We're on baseball, but we don't have.
Hey Chris, maybe my phone has something on the lens. Here we are in the Ponderosa room, where you wanted it. Celebration of life. My sister. Here's my painting that I love. There she is. It's hard to see with the glare.
I was planning to just like take my stuff back. I love you. I love you. Well, for allowing us to like
Now she loves Stephen Curry, Steph, and Billie Eilish.
No, it doesn't.
I only know the right hand.
And she always said that was Jim. So I always look at them and say, oh, Jim is in my house.
Yeah, she had another lion at the house. You're right. Look at all the people that love. There's me loving my sister.
Did Gina make these? Who made these,
Oh,
Gina?
I don't know.
Good job.
Look at this one.
Yeah, that was, I think she had a cast in it.
The walking cast.
And this one
So
in
many
seniors.
pictures. Look at this. That's beautiful what they put out. Look at this.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Look at this.
This is the one
Nickel brought
Cammy brought, yeah. Cammy, no, Nickel didn't bring it.
Look at this. Nicholas brought all this food.
Cammy did.
There's Judy and Chris. These are all their
I know.
trips to Italy.
Sharing with my husband that some of the beautiful paintings up are from Chris, our little loving Chris, who painted and went to San Miguel, and that's a commonality she and I had. We loved San Miguel. And so around the table, you'll see these beautiful paintings. And not only when she went there and stayed for a period of time, she also took immersion classes in Spanish. And I told her before she passed that she had encouraged me.
What's your name?
And I'm a breast cancer survivor. My name's Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
No problem.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, probably. But I remember you from back at the Colors days. Victorian Pantry, actually. You guys used to walk all the time.
You walked here today. You walked here today.
Front, if anyone wants to write a little, we'd love that to be able to look back on later on. Yeah, this is tough. She loved you all so much. Her Nicholas from Portland supplied all the food, which we all know how much Mom loved to eat. She loved to eat, and she loved to bake cakes for everybody. So a lot of her support group brought some cakes because that's what she would love, is to eat the cakes, bake the cakes. Nicholas's great group of people in Portland, which she loved to go visit and spend time with, supplied a great feast of food, which we're gonna put out here in a minute. And we just kind of wanted to, I just wanted to start off by saying, just thanking everybody and letting you know how much she loved you all so much. She just cared and loved to take care of everybody, as you all know. But I'm just gonna keep it, we're just gonna have a nice gathering and eat and think of her, enjoy her. But I do wanna open up the room for people to talk about her, if anyone has anything they want to say. Her beautiful sister Judy is here with us, and her bone marrow support sister.
Born on June 15th, 1948 in Little Italy, New York City, which she was very, very proud of, anybody that knows her, right? And if you ever travel there with her, she will show you where she was born and everything else. She was born to Maria and Nicholas Musso. When she was between 2 to 3 years old, they moved to Long Island. The first development is called Levittown. And they bought a brand new home in Levittown. And she, from there, the next 5 kids were born within 10 years. My parents were very young. What do you call it? They reproduced a lot. Like every year and 9 months. Chris was the eldest. She was like the second mother. Okay? They outgrew that house, and by the time I came along, I'm number 4, they had moved to a bigger house in a town called Brentwood. Chris was a very responsible older sister. She was always there for us, all her younger ones. Every one of her siblings had a very special place in her heart. I remember a time when, you're supposed to bring up some funny things, right? She looked out for us, but she also had a real, side to her. I remember one time she and her the next one younger, Jimmy, who was like 2 years younger than her, they were up in the attic room, as a finished attic in our little house in Levittown, and they were messing around up there, and I don't know if it was a dare that Jimmy made to her, or if he pushed her, but she fell out that top window. Yeah. And she would not tattle on her brother. She loved him so much, but she would like to tell the story. She was okay. She made it, as you know. Somehow, but he was a little rascal. Like Gina said, she cared so much about every one of you. Some of the things that come up for me is she was passionate. She was passionate about life. She was adventurous. She was compassionate. She was caring. She was always willing to help anyone in their time of need. She was always there for me. She was there when I became a single parent. I had 2 kids that she was there, she was there to babysit, to put us up when I moved to California from New York, to give me a job in Alfredo, to get me started again. She was always there. She loved my kids loved her.
She really, truly was. The very first time I met her, I didn't move in here till early 2014. But the first time I knew her, well, first of all, I do want to say she lived her life on fast forward. And she, I think, crammed in 2 lifetimes in her lifetime, because she was always zipping. I mean, you were lucky.
She was 6 years older than me, but whenever we traveled, she was always a few steps ahead of me.
I believe it.
Come on.
Anyway, so the first thing was this magical cake. It was for some event when we sort of gathered then more than we do now. And she'd made this gorgeous cake. It was sort of colored the colors of the rainbow, and it tasted like heaven. And I just thought, who is this person? But she was, I don't know. I didn't know her then. So that was the first thing, is Italian cooking. And then you have touched on those qualities. She had such a love of life, of family. Her family was everything to her. And she was always doing something for someone. And like I said, she would zip, 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 zip. So unless you were, I'm not that fast and wasn't then, and it was hard to keep up with her. But she really was exceptional in her love for others.
Yes.
She loved and cared about everybody.
Aunt Chris is my aunt. So I'm Judy's eldest daughter, or eldest child. And Aunt Chris and I have no notes, by the way, so apologies if I'm all over the place. Aunt Chris and I have a bond because if you don't know, Aunt Chris had surgery when she was a teenager for scoliosis. And I ended up having scoliosis and also had to have surgery when I was 12. And that was many years after, and she was in a cast for a year. And thankfully, due to medical advancements, I didn't have to be in a cast for a year, but I think just that experience, knowing, I mean, there's others in our family that have that, but to have to go through that experience of surgery at the young age, it was nice to have her kind of share her stories, which made me feel better because she was laying in a bed for a year in a full body cast. And fast forward, I think my mom already kind of alluded to it. 18 years ago, we had our first son. My husband Stephen and I had Caden, and he was born 2 pounds 4 ounces at 28 weeks. And unexpectedly, he came early, and Aunt Chris just didn't blink an eye, and she just got on a plane and came and stayed once we were home with him and settled, and just took the time to help me, you know, and help us adjust to having a baby and all of that. Our oldest son, Caden, loves seafood, and so he loves shrimp, and so he's shrimp boy. And she would always see him and say, shrimp boy, I love you, shrimp boy. And so he was like, sounds like a silly name, but he's shrimp boy, and coincidentally, his other grandma is hanging out with the kids. We couldn't bring them to this weekend on this trip, but they had a shrimp feast last night. He just turned 18, but it's just kind of all made perfect sense that they had a shrimp feast at home with him. And then another one is our middle son. When he was a baby, he would remember Aunt Chris around, taking care of us and being around, and a year or two had gone by and he was still a little boy, and she came for a visit, and he just remembers the love that he felt when she was around, and he couldn't know how to articulate it, so he said to her, remember when you used to love me? And he was little, and we just started laughing because that was how he knew how to articulate, like, how much she just loved him, and she said, I still love you. And but that was a cute one. So I just wanted to share a couple of those thoughts about my Aunt Chris. My son is shrimp boy, but this is round bally head. Because when he was little, and still now you could tell, it's like a perfect like round ball. I used to like buzz his head, so it was literally like just a little round bally head. And so then it was like RBH, so I think that was it.
Literally, till the day she died, he was RBH or round bally head.
My whole life.
Yeah. But we have a younger cousin, which is France Marie, who's not here. But she was younger, and she grew up knowing like RBH or round bally head. She didn't know it was round bally head. She thought it was rombali, like an Italian. And so when she realized, she goes, what am I saying? We're calling him rombali. She thought it was a word, rombali head. Like, it's Italian. So it's round bally head. It's like a ball. And so that was just like,
Yeah, young family. So I just walk in and start crying.
We're kind of tight.
Man, I think with Aunt Chris, I think people have touched on it, like the love that she exuded and the effort that she put. I don't even think it was effort. It was so natural for her to find a connection with you on a level that felt intimate, right? And obviously as, her nephew, I think it was easier because we spent time, but she always gave me the sense that I was special to her. right? And I think family can be so complicated sometimes, and relationships are so complicated. So when you find that connection with someone, I think it really means so much more, because it's just hard, and sometimes it can be just you're trying to navigate. But our relationship was so easy, and I saw it with so many people. I think after she passed, really, and it's cliche, you don't know what you had until it's gone, but really since she passed, I realized just how important she was, even as a member of my extended family, just because of the love that she puts out, right? I just think like there's a void without that now that I didn't realize. And she was just so meaningful and impactful in that way. But one of the things that I'll take with me forever, I got married in May, and when I proposed to my now wife, she was going through health stuff at the wedding, and one of the most inspirational parts of being engaged in that time was just seeing how strong and how optimistic she was that she was going to make it there, and she was going to see me get married, but she was going to experience that with the family. It wasn't just about me or around Bollyhead, it was about everyone being there and experiencing that moment. And she wasn't sure, the doctors weren't sure, and she showed up looking so beautiful. And the way Aunt Chris was, she was always like critical of herself. Like she'd let me know, like I'm going to try to be there, but I'm going to look this way or that way, or like I'm not going to be whatever. And when I had my first chance, during I snuck out during cocktail hour and I saw her. She's wearing this beautiful little crown around her head, these little flower petals, and she just looked like an angel. And I was so happy to see her there, and I was just so proud of her. And I think it wrapped everything together. And now we've just recently had our wedding video back, and I don't know if it was just fate or what, but she has a couple beautiful shots of just her in this wedding video that just make it even so much more impactful, and I get to have that forever.
About almost 11 years, part of the support group, cancer support group, which she welcomed me into quite a while ago. A bunch of our members couldn't come today. One of them is stuck in Fairbanks, and her name's Julie. She's known Chris for many years. And she wrote something for me. When I met Chris was February 2011. Was in the cancer support group, which was very small then and held in the Ronald McDonald House. I was so nervous and had no idea what to expect. Chris stood out, this little woman sitting in a big high back chair with these huge dark sunglasses on. Her story blew me away. I knew right away what a strong, self-assured person she was.
I joined a adult softball team, and it was this renewed passion in her life to come and watch me play. As an adult, grown man, she would drive to Portland to come watch my adult beer league softball games, and she became such a staple on those games that even this last year, this summer, after all the stuff that she's been through, she would still drive up, and we made the playoffs, and she was sick, and she was like, I don't care, I'm gonna come. And I was like, yeah, come up, you can stay with me. She drove up, watched us play. I played probably the worst softball game I've ever played in my life. She still loved me so much, and she got the MVP game ball that day, and she will forever be with us on our softball team. But that was the kind of person she was. She drove all the way up there, and then turned around and drove back from Portland just to watch. And she loved it. Yeah. If we ever have chances to do stuff for people, let's do it. Let's make this place better, like she did. So. Thank you.